will be a national park. National park people are already assigned. They have their office in Somerset. The benches that you see are made by 7th and 8th grade students at a Christian commune called the Bruderhof. The Bruderhof, you know where it is? Yeah, okay. Down in Farmington, next to, close to Nemacolin. And it is a pure Christian commune. They're on both sides of Route 40. They have about 600 people. And no one owns anything individually. Everyone contributes and everyone receives according to what they need. These young people build our benches. The building that you can see here, we had no building here until late 2003. People would come out here and they would freeze. They'd stand in the rain. When we come up, we have insulated underwear on and all kind of dress. People come in with short sleeves. Just had a terrible time. 1st of December 2003, we had 50 National Park people come in here. And they said, "Don't you have a building? It's terrible." We said, "No, we can't get a building. This is all zoned. We're just volunteers." I said, "Well, if we got you a building, would you accept it?" I said, "Oh, yes." So 2 weeks later, they had this building. It's a lifeguard station from Assateague Island in Maryland. They refurbished it. They had it on an 18-wheeler at the bottom of the hill where you came up. The 2 weeks that they worked here, they had the very best that you could get. It was a who's who. From the CIA to the FBI to the DMORT. We counted 74 different agencies, state, federal, and local, that were out here. There's 675 troopers assigned to this. This whole thing was circled. They were all within eyeball distance of each other. This was totally sealed. I mean, totally sealed. I live within the inner circle, and I could get to our house and get back out. But I can only walk up to the news center. The patrol that they have down here, the families ask, could you keep people from walking all over that, because until something is done, our loved ones are still there. We prefer not to have people out there running around. So our local congressman got a good-sized grant, and we have 2 sheriff deputies hired around the clock. I say we, the people who operate this. Just around the hill, there's a trailer for 2 sheriff deputies, and they have the world's most boring job. They count the deer and the bear and the turkey and have bird books and read magazines. We're tied in by cell phone, and I don't remember ever having called them once. That was a lady that fell over here and broke her leg. Patches on the back of you, that's been cleaned off about 3 or 4 times. And when it's totally filled, we take all the patches down. They're taken into our local historical society. Our curator cleans them, records them on the computer, and puts them in a sealed bag. They go up to Butler County to Iron Mountain. Anyone familiar with Iron Mountain?
Yeah.
Okay, people in Butler County don't know about Iron Mountain. It's a U.S. steel limestone mine. Government has it, a massive underground complex. Our curator has taken a little over 17,000 items off this board here that you see. Anything that will not weather, anything she wants to really preserve, things that blow off, we dispose of the flowers, but everything else is kept. And she comes out here and she just has so much stuff. There's volunteers trying to catalog through all of this. I don't know how we'll display it, but we sure have a lot of great things. Many school groups and church groups and things like that will come in with a big plaque of some kind, of some cardboard, and it would last a couple of days out here in the weather. So all these things are taken immediately and taken up and stored. We have people leave watches, rings. Had a couple of watches on there for months before she finally decided she should take them. You familiar with America Ride 9/11?
Yes.
The nice plaque over here.
Okay.
They'll be coming in in August. A great event. The other big plaque that you see there, that 450-pound granite plaque, was supplied by a man from Guatemala. He sent the little one over here by the cross. And he called one day and said, "You still have my little plaque?" He said, "Oh, yes." I said, "Well, I'm going to send you a big one." So this one came up. You look at the word passengers, they're spelled differently from that plaque to this plaque. We don't know much about him. You know, he lives in Guatemala. He has a tremendous interest in this. A few times I know that people talk to him. They couldn't keep him on the floor long enough to find out why he was so interested in this. On occasion, we'll call it, "You fill my clock?" "Yes, thank you." If it's approved in September or October by Congress, 2006 will be a year of finalizing, maybe 2006, but 2007 is more realistic. We have no idea what this will be like in a national park. Until the submissions are approved, all we know is this far hillside, far woods is Route 30. And that has to be the entrance. PennDOT, everyone associated agrees that that should be the entrance. Got to get you off these roads. This is a township road. To build it to federal specs would be monumental. We had a lady on her deck on the far side of this woods. She had a camera in her hand. She heard the horrendous crash. She got a picture of the fireball, and then it dissipated. It's the only known picture we have of the fireball. This is very much circulated. Very much a part of the Flight 93 story. 10 minutes after the crash, the first fireman got here and saw that. The crater. 20 minutes later, there are two fire companies that are going into the woods to look for the plane. There's no plane in the woods. The plane was embedded in the ground. The little pieces were at their feet in the grass. This crater, they went down 45 feet. At 45 feet, they found no more. They got a lot of things out of the crater. Half an hour later, nothing burning except the woods. When they were searching, it looked like that. All the topsoil went through a ground separate sorter, and sorted through dirt. Decontamination area for the workers, they had to be protected. On top of the hill, they set up a town, and that was their nerve center. That was the place of the zoo. They came back a couple of times since and did sweeps, but no more crime scene. It's purely a cemetery. Today, this is what you see. You're out here, the flags there, the craters here. The only people that get down to the area are family members and other people by special permission. The local school is about 2 or 2.5 miles over this hill, and it was on the path of the plane. A couple of seconds later, we'd been to the school. The students have spelled out "thank you." That's to the ones who were on the plane. Bottom picture of the miners. The other side of Somerset. Remember the 9 for 9? Trey's story. Same coal company that owns this owns that mine. If you ever get out here, stop in, and Bill or Lori Arnold or one of their people are there. They have a great story to tell you. Things that you wouldn't believe. I know a number of the people who worked for the mines, who were surveyors. When they got there was no chance of finding anyone alive. They were convinced of that. Only the governor and the families were holding out desperate hope. The ones who knew the mines said, no, the water level was so high and so much pressure, they couldn't survive. The only known place is where they drilled. That's where they were. One of the interesting things that happened, when they got there, they had seismographic equipment. They put it on the ground and said, everyone sit down, don't move, because we want to be able to hear if there's any movement underground. Seismographic equipment will tell them what's down there if anyone's moving. There's a bunch of cows in the field. They're picking up the cows. They tell one of the firemen, go up and quiet down the cows. He said, what? Get up and quiet down the cows. So he's shaking his head. He was raised on the farm. He said he walked over the fence, walked in among the cows, and for 10 minutes they stood still. Did not move. He said, no, I don't believe this. I didn't do anything.
Is the creator itself just got to...
No. When they're finished, they backfill, which is they always do. Do you see it? I'm guessing the crater was maybe 12, 14 feet deep.
That's all. A
Yeah.
plane that big, that
And
speed,
there's
just...
across 20 or 25 feet, I'm guessing. They dug down into the crater to 45 feet. They found no more. They were finding things in the crater continually because it augured into the earth. Plane came in, it was very unstable. The mountains you see out here, you can just barely see. That's Washington area. The plane was going in that direction. Not very far out, it veered and started almost due south. Many, many people saw the plane. It was quite low and very nice day, visibility-wise. We had people all the way from Pittsburgh come in and said, "Oh, I saw the plane." And it was so visible. There were 5 people up in the field here at this junkyard working. They came in over their head. The guy up on the farm here, Devin, was out in his yard. Little town where I live, numbers of people were in their yard. The plane was very conspicuous. We know it was unstable, slightly climbed, and came over almost upside down. We know from the 9/11 report that 3 seconds before the crash, or 3 minutes, I'm sorry, 3 minutes before the crash, the cell phone call stopped, and they were rushing the cockpit. Families found out when they listened to Black Boxers, all kinds of screams and yells for those 3 minutes. And they interpreted what the hijackers were saying, and the one hijacker was saying to the other, "Should I put it down? Should I put it down?" The second hijacker said, "No, no, no." And finally, he said, "Yes, down." And then about climbed and over and down it came. So they apparently were in the cockpit at that point. 12 people had cell phones on the plane. One of the interesting things, that lady over here, standing up here, wrote the flag, found a Bible out here, and that's the article. One of the biggest things that was found was a Bible. The cover was singed, the pages were marked. The area around the Bible, the grass was not burned. And it was open in the Old Testament, 1 Kings chapters 12 and 14. When you have your Bible students, that's when Solomon died, Rehoboam, Jeroboam, the divided kingdom, 2 reprobate kings. There's a message in that for us out here, and we still haven't quite figured it out. Our firemen gathered around the Bible, numbers of people there. There was one state trooper. There was a well-worn Bible. Of course, the state trooper, crime scene, don't touch. They couldn't pick it up. So it was many months later until we found out who had it. It was a Japanese student. His name is here on the bench, Kuji. You see some things in Japanese. It was his personal Bible. Family members got some different things, jewelry and things that could be conveniently given to them. Parts of wallets and purses that could be identified. But that was all very confidential. We were never told any specifics on who got what. The family told us about the Bible as we know it.
Thank you very much. The president came out?
Yes, he wasn't out until the first anniversary. Warner Bush came out real early. Whenever he came out, down on this area down here, you see that where they have the gravel. Had a big tent, had a symphony orchestra, and had congressmen, over 450 people representing the families. The president came in late in the middle of the afternoon. Had a tent set up down by the flag. He was supposed to be here only a short time. He stayed something like an hour and 45 minutes. Spent all kind of time with the families. The families said they all cried together. Great story.